The regular meeting of the Aurora City Council for Monday, June 10, 2024 is called to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Kaufman.
Here.
Councilmember Bergen. Councilmember Bergen. Here. Councilmember Coombs.
Present.
Councilmember Gardner.
Here.
Councilmember Hancock.
Here.
Councilmember Drinsky.
Here.
Councilmember Lawson.
Here.
Councilmember Medina.
Here.
Councilmember Murillo.
Present.
Councilmember Sundberg.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Zavanek.
Here.
There's a quorum.
Announcement for the public call-in line.
City Council welcomes feedback from the public on both matters appearing on the agenda and during public invited to be heard. If you would like to speak and have not already spoken to an operator, please press *3. For those watching on Channel 8, call 855-695-3475 and press *3 when connected. You will hear a prompt confirming you are in line to speak to an operator and then be able to continue listening to the meeting. When the operator comes on the line, please be ready to give them your name and agenda item you wish to speak on. Keep in mind you must press *3 before the city clerk reads the title of the item you wish to speak on. Finally, as a reminder, council does not allow comments about any items on the agenda during public invited to be heard. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes, and public invited to be heard is limited to 1 hour in total.
El Consejo Municipal de la Ciudad de Aurora da la bienvenida a la opinión de sus habitantes y otros vecinos en asuntos comparecientes en la agenda y durante la invitación a la audiencia. Esta sesión tiene disponible interpretación al español. Por favor, háganos saber si usted necesita este servicio. Recuerde que el Consejo no permite comentarios de la audiencia mientras se dirigen asuntos de la agenda del día. Por favor, confirme su turno y espere a la invitación para los comentarios públicos. Gracias.
Please join me in prayer. O Lord, our God and our Father, we come to you and we ask that you would look upon this particular gathering tonight to keep us safe and guide us in our decisions. Bless our city with honorable citizens, industries, sound education, good government. Unite our community together, even though we come from different backgrounds. We pray that there be justice and peace in our city. Give the City Council and citizens the wisdom, direction, and sensitivity to the business and proceedings before us tonight. Hear us, therefore, as we commit this meeting to the help of the community. Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Land acknowledgement. The City of Aurora acknowledges that we gather on the territories and ancestral homelands of the Cheyenne, Ute, Arapaho, and Lakota peoples, past and present. We also recognize the 48 contemporary tribal nations that are historically tied to the lands that make up the state of Colorado. Indigenous peoples have remained committed to the stewardship of this land over many centuries as these words of acknowledgement are spoken and heard. The ties that these nations have to their traditional homelands and to their vital place in the ecosystem are renewed and reaffirmed, and we are called upon to be better stewards of the land we inhabit as we continue to work to meet the needs of our entire community. Executive session update. During executive sessions, we discussed union negotiations, disposition of property, and personnel matters. Our motion is in order for the approval of the minutes.
Mayor, I move to approve the minutes.
On May 20th, 2024. So moved by Councilmember Sundberg, seconded by?
Hancock.
Oh, she can take it.
Seconded by the loudest voice, Councilmember Hancock.
She gets it.
Proclamations. Animal services.
Mayor, we have to vote on the minutes.
Yeah, the first and second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Discussion on the motion. Call for the question on the adoption of the approval of the minutes for May 20, 2024.
Mayor Kaufman.
Yes.
Councilmember Zavanek. Or Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes. I don't know why it's up.
The motion passes to adopt the May 20th, 2024 council meeting minutes.
I'm very excited to feature one of our four-legged residents of this city looking for a home.
I think you found one.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dorothy. I'm the shelter supervisor at Aurora Animal Shelter. Here up front, we have French Toast. French Toast is an American Staffy. He's estimated to be about 7 months old, and he's currently up for adoption at the shelter. He did come into us as a stray, which means we're a little limited on the information we have about him. But so far, we've learned that he loves people so much that he will leap to say hello. He also loves squeaky toys and anything that's stuffed, mainly so that he can rip it apart. And apparently we're not picky about treats at all, which makes sense because he is a very happy-go-lucky boy. He has been at the shelter for about a month, almost to the day. And we all have been wondering why he hasn't gotten more attention, because he just has the most handsome face and just the greatest attitude. French Toast isn't the only animal that's adoptable at the shelter. We have many other dogs as well as cats, and we are currently in what they call kitten season, which means that we have so many kittens available for adoption. And if you are looking for a new family member, we recommend that you check us out. If you don't want a dog or a cat, maybe you want a guinea pig, we have those too, so don't worry. You can come down to the shelter during normal business hours. You don't need an appointment. We are open on Saturdays as well as Monday through Friday, and closed on Tuesdays and Sundays. And then the other thing that I wanted to chat about was that we have a fundraiser coming up in August called Wine and Wax. Very fortunately, this is going to benefit us building a new building for our shelter that will be much larger and have greater capacity to be able to serve our community the way that we wish that we could right now. We're very fortunate that this is slated for us to happen, and we're so excited and hope that everybody will have a chance to join us in August for that event. Thank you.
We have an amazing Aurora Award. If Robbie DeYoung would come down here, please. Please. It's a surprise to you. Robbie, welcome. I think this might be your first city council meeting of the year. Of the month. One of our late great Democrat presidents once said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." That message is sort of lost these days. So it's great to encounter people who give to their community, give back to make their neighborhoods better, their cities better, and ultimately their country better. So this amazing Aurora Award, Auroran, says, Robbie Young is passionate about her car. She wants it to stay where you park it, be free from vandalism, and remain with you when you're driving it. With enthusiasm, Ms. DeYoung has become a true Aurora community servant. She financed, created, and donates informational packets about car theft, including preventative measures, what to do when your car is stolen, and what to do after your car is stolen. Plus, she shares data reports, how to recognize stolen vehicles in one's neighborhood, and helpful websites. Robbie is aware of the significant and seemingly endless struggles victims experience and has dedicated herself to helping them and preventing others from becoming one. For your dedication and actions to serve and protect your fellow community members, Robbie DeYoung, you truly are an amazing Auroran. Limiting to 2 to 3 sentences, would you have a response?
No, why would you think you needed to limit me? I don't care who you are or what you've done in the past. You know, if your car is stolen or vandalized, I'm there for you. I'm there for everyone up here. I'm there for everyone in here to help prevent auto theft, vandalism, carjacking, and hit and runs. Thank you so much. This really was a surprise.
Juneteenth. Cherie Yarburn International Auditor, the FABA member. Whereas on January 1, 1863, President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, setting in motion the end of slavery in the United States. And whereas it was not until June 19, 1865, that it was announced to those still enslaved in Texas that the people are informed, in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. And whereas the end of slavery celebration, which became known as Juneteenth, commemorates African American freedom and celebrates the successes gained through education and greater opportunity. And whereas on a larger scale, celebrating Juneteenth reminds each of us of the precious promise of freedom, equality, and opportunity, which are at the core of the American dream. And two, reminds us that much work needs to be done to improve equity, inclusion, and equal rights to overcome racism in our country and our community. And whereas on June 17, 2021, Aurora signed into law that every June 19th be a legal holiday in the city, recognizing that the end of slavery deserves celebration. Now, therefore, I, Mike Hoffman, Mayor of the City of Aurora, Colorado, do hereby proclaim June 19, 2024 as Juneteenth Independence Day, and witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Aurora, Colorado, to be affixed this 10th day of June 2024. Mike Hoffman, Mayor, Aurora, Colorado.
Good evening. My name is Cherie Van Buren. I'm an internal auditor for the city and also the vice chair for Black Employees for a Better Aurora. And this is Tracy Bradford Walker, who is our chair. And we just wanted to thank Mayor and Council for the proclamation this year and to invite everyone out on this Wednesday, June 12th. We will be celebrating for the second year in a row. Right outside at the AMC Great Lawn, we'll have self-pay food trucks, music, entertainment, education from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. So we hope to see you all there. Thank you again.
No.
Okay. Let's see, Aurora Pollinator Week. Joy Thompson, Natural Resources Supervisor for our Parks, Recreation, and an Open Space Department, and Dave Foote, Natural Resources Technician. Whereas pollinator species such as birds and insects are essential partners of farmers and ranchers in producing much of our food supply, and whereas pollination plays a vital role in the health of our public lands, which provides forage, fish, and wildlife, water and recreational opportunities, as well as enhance economic development opportunities for communities. And whereas pollinator species provide significant environmental benefits that are necessary for maintaining healthy, resilient, biodiverse ecosystems, and whereas the City of Aurora has stewarded natural areas and public lands such as grasslands and riparian ecosystems for decades, and whereas the City of Aurora provides residents with nature interpretation and education to promote wise conservation stewardship, including the support and protection of pollinators and their habitats on working lands and wild lands. Now, therefore, I, Mike Hoffman, Mayor of the City of Aurora, Colorado, do hereby proclaim the week of June 17th through 23rd, 2024 as Aurora Pollinator Week throughout the City of Aurora, and urge all community members to recognize this observance. And witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the official seal of the City of Aurora, Colorado to be affixed on this 10th day of June 2024. Mike Hoffman, Mayor, Aurora, Colorado.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mayor. Thank you very much, Council, and thank you to the public for trying to celebrate pollinators. I know with so much going on in the world, it seems that the little things in our world are sometimes forgotten about, and so being able to celebrate for an entire week and for much more than that, these incredible animals that we rely on a daily basis is really important. 1 in 3 bites of produce that we have each day is a result of pollinators. And so it's really important that we celebrate them, protect them, preserve them, and conserve them. And celebrating Pollinator Week is definitely a way to do that. Thank you.
Councilmember Cruz. I'm sorry, the Juneteenth, could you please pick up the proclamation? Forgot to give it to you. Are they still here? We'll get it to them. Councilmember Coombs.
Thank you, Mayor. We have the LGBTQ plus Pride Month proclamation. So if Xander Oaklar from Aurora Pride can come down, as well as anybody else who wishes to join us. Hello. Whereas the vastly diverse city of Aurora, Colorado is committed to being an inclusive, safe, and welcoming place to all who live here, and whereas the LGBTQ plus community has had and will continue to have an immeasurable impact to the cultural, civic, and economic successes of our country, and its contributions must be recognized and honored as an integral part of the history of our community and country, and whereas the bravery of LGBTQ plus members who fought and still fight for the right to be accepted and respected as they are is significant and immeasurable, and whereas the City of Aurora supports the inalienable rights to equality and dignity for its LGBTQ plus community members and is dedicated to ending discrimination and prejudice against these members through increased awareness and education, and whereas Aurora Pride contributes to our community by holding pride events in Aurora, creating inclusive spaces for LGBTQ plus Aurorans, and offering scholarships to Community College of Aurora students, and whereas celebrating Pride Month influences awareness, provides support and advocacy for the City of Aurora's LGBTQ plus community, and calls on all Aurorans to engage in dialogue to build acceptance, strengthen alliances, and respect equal rights. Now, therefore, I, Mike Kaufman, Mayor of the City of Aurora, Colorado, do hereby proclaim June 2024 as LGBTQ Pride Month, in witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Aurora, Colorado to be affixed this 10th day of June 2024. Xander?
Well, thank you so much to the entire city government of Aurora. Special thanks to Councilmember Coombs, Councilmember Bergen, and Mayor Mike Hoffman for all of your support throughout the years. This is now our 9th year having Aurora Pride. We took it from a teeny little event out here in the Great Lawn to almost 10,000 people this last year, making us the 3rd largest Pride celebration in the state of Colorado. And so what we're hoping to do is continue to build pride, continue to support the LGBT community in Aurora, and continue to make Aurora a better place to live for everyone.
I'm Pete Schultz. You guys have seen me down. I'm the Public Safety Client Manager for City Attorney's Office, member of the LGBTQ community. Really happy to work for City of Aurora, who supports us, and it's nice to come to work and not have to worry about discrimination. So thank you, Mayor, members of council, for that.
And finally, I would just add that, in light of some of the things that our community has been facing recently, we all know that there's nothing we can be threatened with that we haven't been threatened with and stood up to before. And we will continue standing. So, thank you.
Public invited to be heard.
Alfredo Carbajal.
Hello, my name is Alfredo Carvajal. I am a resident of Aurora. I am with DACAC, Denver Aurora Community Action Committee. And today I'm going to speak about what happened to Kylan Lewis on May 23rd. On May 23rd, Kylan Lewis was murdered by a police officer by the name of Michael Dieck. Kylan was unarmed and not a threat to anyone. Even Aurora PD confirmed this. But the officer immediately escalated the situation to extreme violence. According to witnesses and recordings, there was no warning, no rights were read. The officer acted as judge, jury, and executioner. And yet, even though Aurora PD confirmed that Kylan was unarmed, instead of putting the officer in jail pending a trial and pressing charges, the officer was put on paid leave. This dangerous cop was allowed to continue walking freely around Aurora. How should people of Aurora feel safe in their own community when the city fails to keep violent police officers accountable, who instead are rewarded with paid vacation for their murderous actions? The cycle of violence from Aurora PD remains unchanged. People of Aurora continue to suffer at the hands of police, being brutally assaulted, and in worst cases, being murdered. We must break this cycle. I call on the council to do the right thing, to bring justice to the Lewis family, to press charges against Michael Dieck and Aurora PD, and to provide all footage, information of the incident to the family, including the release of all records of the officer, Michael Dieck, without the ridiculous fees. And finally, we call on this council to coordinate with the community to create and implement a Civilian Police Accountability Council, CPAC. It will be made of folks democratically elected who are residents of Aurora, who will be able to hire and fire police, including the chief of police, investigate misconduct, and press charges against cops who break the law. Thank you.
Sabrina McKinney. Sabrina McKinney. Okay, Tanya Tapachek. Brandon Gerke.
All right, can you hear me all right? Cool. I am also part of Denver Aurora Community Action Committee. We are here with members of the family to talk about Kylan Lewis and what happened to him. On May 23rd, Aurora SWAT officer Michael Dieck shot and killed 37-year-old Kylan Lewis in his home. Statements and footage recorded by neighbors indicate that Lewis, a black man, was unarmed, and Officer Dieck made no commands, no warnings, and no attempt to read Lewis's rights. Dieck fired one round into Lewis's abdomen, and medical examination showed that he bled out before paramedics could arrive. Like so many Aurora police before him, this officer acted as judge, jury, and executioner. The family of Kylan Lewis and the community demand that there's an end to this racist police murder in our neighborhoods. And this hasn't just happened this one time. This continues to happen in our community. As we have seen with Jordell Richardson last year, that was killed June 1st of last year. He was a 14-year-old black child that was shot by Aurora Police Department, and the DA refused to press any charges. These officers that shoot people in our community are still allowed to continue to be police officers, are not held accountable. And after a push, Chief Acevedo stepped down and resigned. and these killer cops still remain. There fundamentally has not been change in these systems for police accountability, and that's why we advocate for civilian police accountability councils, like we have seen in Chicago, that have been very effective. And I encourage every city council member here to look into what is happening in Chicago and to what the community there is implementing in order to keep their community safe. Because the people that the police are supposed to be protecting should have direct say over how communities are policed, have direct power to hire and fire police officers, conduct independent investigations not done by internal affairs conducted by other police agencies or other police, but by community members and other people in the community to investigate misconduct. And it will not be another toothless review board that simply provides advice to the mayor, advice to city manager, or advice to a chief of police. We need to put the community in the driver's seat to determine the community's future. And with that, that's, I don't know how much time I have left, but thank you for listening.
Donald Black.
Mayor,
Councilmember Jones again.
just real quick, Katie, Tanya Tabachek, you called her name, and she said that she's on the phone,
Yep, we go through in person first and then to the phone.
but you already called her, and she's on the phone. So will you
Yes.
call her again for the phone?
She can speak after everybody in person speaks. Everybody in person speaks first, and then she can
Yeah,
speak.
I
She
just-
signed up online.
Yeah.
But if she's on the phone, she speaks
Okay.
after everybody in
Okay,
person.
okay.
Looks like it's police night. So this is the other side of this. At the last council meeting, I left a packet for each council member that included my internal affairs complaint to Aurora PD and copies of the videotapes that were basically illegally suppressed in order to wrongfully prosecute Officers John Halbert and Francine Martinez in the dramatic pistol-whipping arrest of Kyle Vinson nearly 3 years ago. Since that prosecution involved misconduct at the highest levels of APD, I do not expect any results from my internal affairs complaint. The two officers were subject to public ridicule, family embarrassment, financial loss, fear of prison due to the politically correct aspirations of former Chief Vanessa Wilson, who publicly denounced the officers before the video evidence was even collected. The detective, Ethan Snow, ignored witness statements and charged the officers before even picking up the videos that showed the true resistance of Kyle Vinson, a person wanted on a felony warrant who was under the influence of drugs and in possession of a significant quantity of drugs. Further, Kyle Vinson reached for Officer Halbert's gun at least twice before he was struck with it. In the ensuing 3-minute struggle, Vinson continually grabbed for Officer Halbert's gun. Kyle Vinson is presently in prison for other crimes. Those videos were never released to the public as required by law and were shown to virtually no one inside the department. As a result, Officer Martinez was convicted of failure to intervene in excessive force that was deemed not excessive by a jury that found Officer Halbert not guilty of all charges. The videos were not used in Officer Martinez's trial because they were buried in the discovery files and never pointed out by Detective Snow or anyone from the Arapahoe County DA's office. Everyone in the criminal justice system has the obligation to bring forth any evidence that points to the innocence of anyone being prosecuted. The detective's reports and the use of force review by Division Chief Jewell are full of misleading and untrue statements. The incompetent and dishonest efforts to distort the facts of the arrest of a violent felon and to wrongfully sacrifice 2 officers to the political narrative speaks volumes about the lack of integrity at the highest levels of the APD. I would ask that this council make every effort to require their city manager to follow up on this complaint. If this council expects that buzzwords like integrity, honor, honesty, fairness, and respect have any meaning to the officers of APD, then the officers have the right to expect that those terms apply to those above them and also to expect fair and honest treatment. At the very least, the city of Aurora owes a public apology to former officers Halbert and Martinez. Thank you.
Jack Brewster.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. That's pretty hard to follow, all of that, to be honest with you.
I'm here to talk about the beautification plans for the Highline Canal. To my understanding, they are talking about putting a pedestrian walkway at the end of 8th Avenue where it dead ends, which is my house. My wife and I have lived there for 25 years. My wife is a native of Aurora. As a matter of fact, she grew up with the mayor. She's Karen Erickson, so they used to tube down the canal, play in the canal, but we haven't had water in the canal for 7 or 8 years now. As a consequence of not having any water, of course, the trees are dying. The beautification needs to be natural. We don't need bus stops for people to sit. What we need is water in the canal to allow the trees to grow, to create a natural, welcoming environment, to take care of the pollinators so that everything works. I've got my grandkids there. My wife and I have lived there for 25 years. I think I mentioned that. My mother and father-in-law lived there for 40 years before they passed. The area where we live, my wife's family has owned that, or they don't own it now, but they owned it from the late 1800s up through the 50s. If you look at the map of the city of Aurora, it's called Kierkegaard Acres. That's my wife's family. We don't need more pedestrian walkways because the pedestrians don't use them. The ATVs, the mini bikes, they're the ones using those access points. By adding another one, we have one by Hinckley now. By adding another one, all you're doing is giving more access and more availability for people to get away if they ever do try to enforce the no motorized vehicle rules. There's absolutely no reason to have that walkway there. There's no reason to have these shelters along there. Just let the water run. Let the trees grow, cut the grass a little bit. I mean, I'm all for the beautification, but we don't need more concrete and steel to beautify the city. It doesn't have to happen. Let's do it naturally and just let everybody live quietly. It's a nice neighborhood. I've been told that we're considered underserved. Quite honestly, we're okay with that. Please don't serve us if this is what you're going to do. Leave us that way. If this is your idea of providing service to us, please leave us underserved. Thank you.
Aaron Aragon.
My name is Aaron Aragon. I've been a resident of Aurora, Colorado, 63 years. I live in a neighborhood off of 8th Circle where these proposed bridges that this gentleman was just speaking about are going to be built. One of these bridges is 100 yards from my back door of my house. This creates a massive homeless camp. I don't know if any of you have rode a bicycle down the Highline Canal lately. For example, under Alameda Avenue, it's not good. The homeless camps, the ATVs, the mini bikes, it's out of control. I spoke to the police department 2 weeks ago at a meeting that the people sponsoring this bridge, one of the people leading this bridge project showed me a video on her own phone the day before somebody almost ran her down on an ATV. And I said to her, this is what we're trying to stop. Adding these bridges, shelters, walkways, whatever you want to call them, is not helping beautify Aurora. It's taking it down. It's a daily thing. Last night, there was multiple gunshots out on the canal right where this proposed bridge is. They're talking about building it. My grandchildren, 5 and 6 years old, they want to run out there and see what's going on. This is 100 yards from my back door. And the rest of these people here that are going to speak are going to tell you the same thing. To start with, these are bridges to nowhere. They're across the Highline Canal, leading from one neighborhood to another neighborhood. If you live in this neighborhood, there's no reason for you to cross such bridge to go over there. You don't live there. There's no streets there. These open areas, it makes no sense. I don't know how anybody could see this as beneficial to anyone. I can't believe anyone in this room, period, would want this exactly in your backyard. Couple instances, there was 14, 15-year-old kid riding an ATV where this bridge is proposed, doing donuts in my backyard, in the field outside of my fence. He runs the ATV into the fence. I watch it happen. I run out there to pick him up because he looks hurt. Knocks his wind out bad.
All right, your time is up. Thank you.
Thank you.
L. Jones.
Hello to everyone. First of all, I want to start out that I am Kylie Lewis' mother. And I want to give my condolences to all the families who's facing and has faced these similar and same unjustly crimes as I'm facing today. Do you know what it feels like getting a call from another state or any state or in the same state saying that your son been shot by Aurora, any police officer, don't have to be Aurora, any one of them, and then have to run to see what's going on? But I assure you, I urge all people, citizens of Aurora, as well as United States, to get to know what their rights are as citizens. Now, I want to bring to the attention of what happened to my son on May 23rd. From what I'm being told, as I got a call from detectives from Aurora, that my son was unarmed and was shot by a trigger-happy officer. As previous have been stated, this officer took it in his hands that he would be the judge, the jury, and executioner. If that's what you call justice, we don't need this type of justice or protection. We need for people to stand up for the rights of American citizens, to do what's right on all areas, on all realms, platforms, and levels. Also, it was stated on the news that my son was on his way to Aurora Hospital in stable condition. As I entered Colorado, Aurora at the hospital, I was told by the doctor he was not in stable condition. He died on the scene. So all these misleading evidence, sayings, messages that they provide in everybody in Colorado and who knows elsewhere, false information, unjustly. I'm here to make a stand not only for myself, my family, but all people who has been served unjustly in these type of incidents. Unnecessary deaths that goes unwarranted. And these officers get off on paid vacations because suspended with pay, that's a paid vacation. That's not taking accountability. So I'm urging everybody, not only in Aurora County, but all over the United States, to hold all officers accountable for their actions, especially when it goes unwarranted, unneeded, unnecessary. We will not stand as American people to stand by and let this keep going on. We will not. We're here to make a stand. I urge all communities to make a stand for what is right and just. We need to all come together to make this happen, to hold all officers, and anybody else for that matter, accountable for every action that they do. Protocol was not used in this circumstances. It was not used. And so, therefore, I'm urging that you guys hold this officer and whoever else involved accountable and let him not go free. Just like you guys, when citizens make a mistake and get caught up and found guilty, they go to prison. This officer needs to do the same thing because it went from a shooting to a murder. So therefore, he should be held up on murder charges. That is my feeling for this.
Thank you.
Robbie DeYoung.
I'm sorry for the loss of your son. Okay, so I received an award tonight that was totally unexpected, and I thank you all. I've worked really hard for the last 3 years for this little endeavor that I took on when I became retired. There's still so much to be done. One of the things that we aren't touching on, we touched on for a short while and it got dropped, was impound fees. I'm tired of talking to people that have tried to go get their vehicle out of the Aurora impound lot through M&M Towing, just to find out that they have to pay money and pay money and pay money and pay money in order to get it out. They only get 3 days credit from the city of Aurora. We need to change that. We need to make it so we quit victimizing the victims. There were so many other things I wanted to say, but I can't at this point. But we can do better, Aurora. We can do so much better for our residents, for the people that have had their vehicles stolen in other counties and the vehicle has been brought into our county, or vice versa. We need to make public awareness a thing. I talked to a gentleman just recently that is authorized and has been working with the police departments throughout the state in testing vehicles when they have been stolen for narcotics. And he goes in with his company and he cleans up these vehicles. But does everybody that has had their car stolen know that that service is available to them? No, they don't. And I only have a limited reach. Yes, I've got over 2,200 people just on Nextdoor that are following me, but there's not enough citywide information out there on what services are available for everyone. I am there for everyone. I don't care what your background is, like I said earlier. I don't care what your background is. I don't care what your family is all about. I don't care what political party you're on. Your vehicle gets stolen. You have carjacking. You should be served.
KL. KL.
All right, my name is Kyle Lewis. I'm actually the brother of Kylan Lewis. Of course, you have heard what has happened as far as the murder. I don't call it an accident. I call it something that was done purposefully. But I want y'all to sit here and kind of put yourself in this position. Y'all wake up every single day, right? And y'all are in the positions that y'all in. I'm not saying that y'all don't have family issues, but what I'm saying is y'all don't have to worry about the issues that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, right? You don't have to worry about the people that's supposed to protect us going and actually killing us, right? Especially when they're unarmed and not actually doing anything to provoke violence or anything of that nature. The thing I want you to also understand is this has not only just affected him and his children, but he has his mother, his friends, he has people that loved him. He is no longer here. You have somebody that actually was in the community helping people, loving people, and actually giving back to people, right? So I want to sit here and ask you, are we going to continue to let officers like this come in and kill and be like, oh, let me go in and scoop-dee-doo, and it's all butterflies and rainbows and Care Bears and Skittles with Scooby-Doo snacks, right? That's not what we want. We want somebody that's going to be held accountable for all things. Because when we have somebody that's accountable for all things, then therefore that's where justice gets served, not just on for us, but we hold them accountable as well. Aurora is one of the, I've been here all my life, in Colorado all my life. Aurora is one of the most racist counties in Colorado, period. I don't care what nobody says. I've dealt with it from experience. I always have to make sure that I have both hands on steering wheels. I have to make sure that I'm not reaching for nothing. I've had guns pulled on me just from traffic stops. I've been through this. I haven't got shot. No, I'm still here. But the thing I'm coming to ask y'all is, what are we going to do for this? Because the thing is, if we don't do something now, people will start reacting. Oh, and it'd be way bigger than what y'all could ever expect it, because people are getting tired. That's just like if I come to any one of y'all's house, hypothetically, and I do something to one of your loved ones and get off scot-free, how would that make y'all feel? How would it make you feel? You know, I get paid vacation. I'm like, hey, you know, it's a paid leave. No, we need to make people more accountable. I'm not going to sit there and hold y'all up anymore, but I want y'all to really think about that. Seriously, it's time for a change, and I know this has been going on so long. We have come a ways, but y'all want peace for everybody. We have the LGBTQ+, we have people who are in other positions, you know, being recognized and things like that. Well, the thing is, if y'all want equality for everybody, y'all need to start acting like it. Seriously. I ain't gonna hold y'all up. That's all I gotta say.
Sanchere Monroe.
Hi, my name is Sanchere Monroe, and I'm also here for Kylan Lewis to call to you all's attention the murder. And he was taken away from us. I have Kylan Lewis Jr., a son now with no father, whom I had to tell was killed by the police, because that's what happened. You know, now I have a child who looks identical to him, by the way, that I have to look at and raise myself, a fatherless child, when it didn't have to be that way. I just want to call it to your attention, and I want us all to come together and somehow get justice for this murder. And that's all.
Tanya H.
Hi, my name is Tanya Hamilton. I am a family member of Kylan Lewis. I am here because the family, friends, my grandson, I'm the grandma of Kylan Jr., is very hurt. Things need to change. It's not against the law to be unarmed. Why do? I'm upset. I'm not going to say too much, but things need to change. Thank you.
KDOT. KDOT.
Good evening, Aurora. Change starts tonight, ladies and gentlemen that are on the board right here. The blood is on your hands, the ones who reversed the decision to have an oversight board regarding the police. The blood is on your hands. It's up to you whether you want to wipe them off now. Because at the end of the day, I am a family member of Kylan Lewis. He was murdered May 23rd, approximately around 11:37 by your agency. He was a loving father, devoted husband, great family member. He would give the shirt off his back. More than a decent human being. And I'm tired of having meetings like this because you guys don't want to listen. But we're not giving you that choice anymore. Community will stand up. These people right here, including the family, have power over you. You do not have power over the people at the end of the day. And we will have justice for Kylan Lewis. The facts is he was unarmed. Another fact is he was black and the officer was white. Yeah, we're gonna go there. Because this is the story that you helped wrote because of your negligence. Bring back the oversight board so we can bring back justice for this family that is hurting right now, especially his mother. You weren't there at the hospital. You didn't see the tears out of his family. You weren't there. So I expect you to step up, or you will not be sitting in these seats anymore, because the people are tired, very tired. What if it was your son that was laying on the ground like that? Think about that. Really think about that. What if it was your child? You would be right up here at this booth, or probably doing something even more. And at the end of the day, you better not do that goddamn gavel. You better not do that goddamn gavel. Break the fucking gavel. I don't give a shit.
Your time is up.
At the end of the day, this family needs justice, and Mike Coughlin, you can go to hell.
Thank you.
Alvertus Simmons.
That bastard get away with this shit, you're going to hell. Put that in your prayer. Amen. I'm his father, and I'm going to tell you what's going to happen to y'all ass one day. I don't give a damn about none of y'all.
All right. I can tell that family is hurt. And I thank God that the reason I'm here is support Preston Nunn. My name is Alvertus Simmons. I'm a civil rights activist, and I'm here in support of Preston Nunn III. The only reason our family is not grieving like their family is that your officers beat Preston to the white meat of his head, but Preston is alive. That's the only reason. Look how many black families are upset with y'all. I told y'all the last time I was here, Aurora, y'all hate black people. I don't care that you got a black service person. Let's talk truth to power. At the end of the day, I asked you, Danielle, Councilwoman, you was up there nodding your head. I told some folks in the black community we had an advocate. Somebody was going to look and see what happened to Preston Nunn. By a show of hands, how many of you all took that picture how many of you all have followed up on that picture? Raise your hand. By show of hands. Nobody. That's a damn shame. Nobody. Y'all think I'm doing this for my health? I asked I said in the black community, I said, there's a blonde councilwoman named Danielle. She nodded in approval. She said she looked like she was going to be an advocate for us. I couldn't find out you wanted the police chief, the interim police chief, to resign because you have an issue, a domestic violence issue or something going. And I'm looking like a fool in the community because I'm thinking your body language was of a support, but it wasn't. It was about your own case. You the only black person on Stephanie. You the only one. If we can't get you to help us, who the hell gonna help us? If we can't get you to stand up, who gonna help us? Now wait a minute, family. Wait a minute. I ain't got but another minute. You know what we're going through. I got that dissent decree right here. Dissent decree, folks, that you all can get at any time. It says that the Aurora police made many mistakes. Not only did y'all give this man, Nesser, the police officer, a paid vacation, but y'all gave him a promotion. That's why black people don't trust y'all. You all had the Douglas County Police do an investigation, and it's in this report that said that officer did nothing wrong. That's why black folks don't trust you all. And if y'all sit up there, you look at it and like, okay, well, he gonna say what he gonna say and gonna leave. At the end of the day, we go to trial, and we're gonna feel September 23rd. Y'all done hurt this family. Y'all done hurt all kind of other families out there. Why? Because y'all don't like black people. We ain't done nothing to you all but pay our taxes and be a human being. But you all hate us. And if you don't hate us, then do something, damn it. Quit sitting up there every time I come in here looking like it's okay. Kumbaya time. It's not kumbaya time. People are dying in the street. Black folk are dying in the street, and you all are doing nothing about it. Nothing. You can have my time. I'm coming back. I'm not done with y'all yet. And I asked Phil to prosecute you officers. I know. I ain't gonna call you out your name. I gotta look. I'm not gonna do all that. I'm gonna walk away. But I asked Phil to prosecute you all.
Preston Nunn. Preston Nunn.
He's the victim. He ain't saying nothing to you all. We're leaving. Let's go.
David Tagmeyer.
Hi there. I'm David Tegmeyer, born and raised in Aurora. I'm here to speak about the bridge project proposed, and just quick and simple, I'm I used to be a high school student that had to walk to and from school, so I understand the ease of, if there's a bridge that helps you get to and from school easier, that should be acceptable. But this proposed bridge, we have an issue with the ATVs in the area where if it just needs a simple redesign where at least put a pole up in the middle so the ATVs can't get through. I try to walk my dog back in the field back there, and sometimes that's an issue with, it's usually teenage kids that want to zip by you at 30 miles an hour, and that's a safety hazard. And there's also this proposed idea of a shelter, like a rest area of some sort. You know, I've been in this community a long time. I kind of see where that's going to head. There's been homeless encampments that we've had to try to work through behind our house because there's an open field there, and all that shelter area, it's just going to be essentially a homeless camp at some point that's going to cause issues with, you know, there's always broken bottles that my dog has to walk over and stuff in that area. Or I've never seen needles, but I'm scared of that kind of stuff. So simply, I think it just needs a redesign and just reevaluation of the project. That's all. Thank you.
Alan Scary. Alan Scary.
Honorable Mayor, distinguished council members, my name is Al Scary. You too, Steve. I'm talking to you. You're still distinguished. Anyway, I'm here tonight. I'm the guy responsible for this bridge thing. I want to speak against the proposed pedestrian bridge and the rest area shelters along the Highline Canal. The Conservancy, headed by Suzanne Jones and Brianna Winters, have proposed the pedestrian bridge at 8th Avenue and several rest area sites along the canal. Sounds like a good idea on paper, but the folks that live along 8th Avenue and the canal know what the pedestrian bridge and the rest area sites will do to impact the quality of life in our neighborhood. I personally have lived here for 51 years, so I already know the problems. Personally, I've served as head area coordinator for the Neighborhood Watch for over 10 years. That's why I know my neighborhood. The bridge will allow more ATVs, dirt bikes, etc. to the canal, which is already overrun with ATVs, dirt bikes, and other motorized vehicles. As Miss Brianna Winters, if she's here tonight, she already knows how bad the problem is. I believe she almost got hit by an ATV while she was walking on the canal. The proposed rest areas will turn quickly into future homeless sites. Ask our power officer, Gerald Krieger, about the homeless problems in our neighborhood. He has personally ran off 7 homeless sites in our neighborhood. Kudos to him. He's not here tonight, but too bad he isn't. Some as large as 25 people. So please take your bridge where there's water down south in the canal, actually, and build it down there. If you really want to help us up here, talk to the Denver Water Board, who took our water. Give us our water back for all our dying trees. I'd like to give my extra minute or so to the family that lost a child here. Thank you. Thank you, guys. God bless you guys. Hey, we're with you here. We're with you guys, okay? Thank you. That's all I got. And thank you, guys. Thank you. Steve, you're always the man. You answer your phone right away, and you take care of business, and I appreciate you.
Ralph.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
Ralph Grills.
Good evening, Council. I'm here because you just heard Al talking about the bridge over there that's going on the canal area. Are you all familiar with that area is? It's right where 8th and 7th, there's an open space, and they have a pathway there. Well, I've lived in Aurora since 1979, but I moved to my house on the canal there in 2018. And for the first 2 years, it was great because it was open space. We could walk around the canal on that pathway and stuff. But then when COVID hit, all of a sudden, everybody started coming out there with their ATVs and different motorized vehicles. And students were coming out there, and unfortunately, they were having sex out there, we saw. They're doing drugs out there. And so and then it seems like they added a bench on one side. And as soon as that bench came, more of that stuff started happening because they would sit there and doing their drugs and what have you. And so they're saying that they're trying to do it to help the people around and make it a beautiful area. But I think it's just attracting more people that are up to no good out there because we have a lot of homeless people that are coming back there. They've dropped a bunch of logs off for people to rest on, and the homeless people are building their tents around it. So the more structures you're putting there, it's really attracting more people to come and doing it. I built a wrought iron fence that's faced right on the canal, so I'm seeing this every day. I see ATVs coming by, and we never see nobody out there trying to stop them. So they just run as they want. And they also are lighting firecrackers out there now because it's summer. And you have the weeds out there that can cause fire for the homes there. There's a lot of danger happening out there. And what the city did is they built some roads on an open space next to the canal area that they said it was for their trucks to come back there. Well, as soon as they did that and had those pathways, more ATVs and more motorcycles and stuff are coming through there. Another gentleman that spoke tonight, Aaron, my neighbor, he has a waterway that goes right by his house, and the ATVs are going right there into the open space, right onto the canal. And so by opening up this area and putting bridges, it's just giving them more access. I already had somebody run to my fence like Aaron did with their ATV, and there are going to be more people coming out there. And unfortunately, it's a good idea if it was for people that were there to do good things and just enjoy the area. But it seems it's more for the people that just want to go back there doing their drugs. The homeless, unfortunately, are building their encampments, and the ATV and motorcycles and mini bikes that are coming there every day. At night, when I'm sleeping, I have my window open, you hear the ATVs just driving right by. And I'm like, what? It's like 2 in the morning. People are, you can see the lights out there, but there's nobody stopping them. If you call the police, obviously they're gone by the time the police are going to get there. So by giving more access, we should actually sit down and have a committee to find out how we could build something that would let people walk, but not let these motorized vehicles and these type of people out there that we don't want. And I appreciate your time.
Susanna Jones. Susanna Jones.
Hi there. My name is Susanna Jones, and I'm with the Highline Canal Conservancy. Out of respect for the heavy topic being heard tonight, I just wanted to let everybody know and the neighbors of the canal that I'm here listening to the input, and we greatly appreciate the partnership from Aurora and also the neighbors who are so passionate about their neighborhood and the canal and coming out tonight to give their input. So thank you.
MLH.
I really appreciate the gentleman over there that gave up his time for the family over here. But I want to talk about something here that is a commonality that I think we all share. And then I'll get to the council in just a minute. If we spent enough time worrying about people instead of property and cars and trivial things that we can do without at some point, I think we all could get somewhere really, really fast. When you guys started this meeting, you started with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then at the end of that Pledge of Allegiance was justice for all. When are the people of Aurora going to get justice for road cops that decide to take people's lives and become judges, juries, and executioners? I implore you guys to think about this when you go to sleep at night and not worry about stupid things like, I don't know, radar vans that lose the city $500,000. You guys need to bring back the oversight board and not worry about the gavel when people are speaking truth to power. And especially when KDOT speaks, you guys need to listen, because he has the pulse of this city, the pulse of the people, and I believe that you guys can make a big difference if you really think about things. We heard from the family, the grieving family here. If it was one of your kids, what would you do? If it was your sister, your brother, your mother, your father, what would you do? Would you want an oversight board to take care of road cops that do bad things? Or would you want things as they stand now with no oversight? I want you guys to think about that and think about that Pledge of Allegiance. It should mean something to you guys. And it should mean that you guys put that oversight board in place so that we don't have this happen again, and another family back here grieving and people talking about stuff that you don't want to hear. If you guys don't want to hear it, then do something about it. That's all I got.
Sharinda Lewis.
Hello, I'm Kylan's grandmother. My name is Shardina Lewis. I'm here to say I'm going to follow this gentleman because he had the same thought that I had. When we talk about the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible with liberty and justice for all. But it's not liberty and justice for all, not if you're a black man. The police picks them all out, and they think they're just prey that nobody's going to do anything about it, so they shoot down. You look at the Aurora shooting, 12 people he shot, but did they kill him? No, they took him and put him in jail. But they didn't do that to my grandson. He didn't kill or harm anybody. He has a family, and they had on the news he wanted for questioning. But how would you get anything out of somebody if you're going to kill them? So why want them for questioning when you're going to kill them so you won't get answers? That's ridiculous. So I spoke about President Biden when he enacted this thing against people who were killing the Chinese, and he came up against some legislation to protect the Chinese. Well, what about the black men? They've been killed in this country. They've been in this country, their family, ever since slavery, and they overhauled the country. They helped build the country. But no, we don't have anybody to stand up for black men because it's not liberty and justice for all. The United States is living with a lie. So what we need to do is get everybody together and agree. We really need liberty and justice for all, not just white and other colors, but for the black man, that their families been suffering in the United States for decades. So that's what I want to say. Rogue police officers don't need to be on the force. They need to be handled and let them know that when they do a crime like this, they're going to jail or whatever punishment, that they might kill them or something. They need to be stopped, and they can't use that badge to be racist. A lot of them sign up to be on the police force, and a lot of them are racist, and they use that badge, and they hide behind that badge so they can kill black men. That's the way I feel. In the United States, we need to come together. People are getting tired of them killing our black children. And we talk about abortion and all that. Yeah, but look at all these black men that they're killing. So, United States is not living up to its creed. It's a lie. Thank you.
Bernard Celestin. Bernard Celestin.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council members. My condolences to you and your family, man. I don't want to feel sad of all the things I've been hearing because I came for a personal reason. I don't really know you folks because about 10 years ago, I decided to step back a little bit to take care of my wife and my home because our kids grew out of the house and went to college. My son went into the Air Force. He became the 4th generation man in my family to go to the Air Force. I'm a veteran, so is my father, so is my grandfather. So I was proud about that. But I came here so you could put a face with the name because I am running for RTD Board of Directors for District F, which is most of Aurora. It covers from Colfax to Smoky Hill, from 225 to 470. So odds are I will be running into you folks and talking to you. I recently retired from RTD, and the reason I'm running has to do with the way I see such a lack of cooperation between city leadership, state leadership, and the RTD agency. The first two things that I will fight very hard to change is instead of having our young people up to high school graduation age go 1 month or so with not paying fare, I want to make that a permanent thing. That will relieve the kids of having to get in fights on the bus for not having their fare. It will relieve the parents for not having to come up with the money. And the second thing is if you are a wheelchair-bound person, you should not have to pay for public transportation, because the agency can absorb that cost and it will not do anything to them. But I will need your help, folks, because Aurora has lots of issues. And it just blows my mind when we're driving nicer neighborhoods to see how nice the bus stops are. But when we come to certain neighborhoods in my beloved Aurora, I've lived here for 42 years. I've purchased my home by Rangeview High School 33 years ago. My wife is a native. The military brought me here, fell in love, and I've been here ever since. And the first 30-plus years that I've lived here, I've served on the Civil Service Commission for 6 years. I've served on the Human Relations Commission for 17 years. I was the president of ICNA, which is the largest nonprofit translation organization right here in the city, for almost 20 years. I was a member of KCRT for about 15 years, so I was extremely active until I wanted to give thanks to my wife for helping me raise such great kids. And so I backed away. I'm coming back. Folks, let's work together. I understand there may be pressures even among your group, but let's work together. Our city's better than that. Thank you very much. Have a blessed evening.
Aaron. Amen. Aaron Futrell.
Should be now. What's that?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you. Well, this is hard because I'm up here to talk about the traffic light, but the traffic light seems so insignificant when this family is suffering, and there definitely needs to be justice for Kylene Lewis. And most of you guys know I can be very, very loud, and I'll use my voice to help this family get justice, because there is no reason for Kylene Lewis to die, period. So I wanted to correct myself. The traffic light that I'm talking about, that's very unsafe. is at Moline and Mississippi. And when you're driving on the west side towards Buckley, there needs to be a traffic turn light. Without that traffic turn light, there's going to be more accidents. There are going to be more citizens that aren't paying attention, and you're going to be hearing about people getting run over or hit and runs. And I don't want to see that. Yeah, this, after hearing the family, it's just kind of throwing me off because, get emotional because there was no reason for Mr. Lewis to die when you see the video, period. There's a difference between the Lewis video and Mr. Nunn. I have personal experience with Mr. Nunn. He shouldn't be getting paid $38,000 from the police officers. I know for a fact because he literally sat there at my old job and told me he was going to set the police officers up for that police brutality lawsuit that he has. And I ran into him 2 weeks before it happened. So, Ms. Jurinsky, I know you didn't do anything wrong, and I will stand up and say that. But anyways, I'm just gonna honestly let the rest of my time kind of go, so you can have a moment of silence for Kaylin Lewis, and let's make sure that this doesn't become another Elijah McClain, period.
Mayor, can we get Aaron's email address, because this issue has been addressed, and I do have an answer for you regarding Moline in Mississippi.
Okay, I will get that for you. And we are at our hour cap.
We got one more person that wasn't heard. Yeah.
We got.
The motion is in order for the adoption of the agenda.
Mayor. Motion to approve the agenda.
Moved by Councilmember Gardner.
Mayor,
seconded
point of
by
order.
Second.
Councilmember Coombs.
I move to extend the public invited to be heard period. We have, I believe, Ms. Tabachek on the phone as well as some other individuals here in person. So I'd move that we extend the public invited to be heard.
I would second that.
Okay, it takes a supermajority to suspend the rule. It's moved by Councilmember Coombs, seconded by
Murillo.
Councilmember Murillo to extend public invited to be heard is for how long?
To listen to the remainder of the people who have signed up.
For the remainder of the people that have signed up. Discussion? Councilmember Bergen.
I thought you were asking for the last person that still needed to speak and then the one on the phone.
No, she's
Mayor,
asking for everybody who signed up that hasn't spoken.
So I would be good with the one person plus the phone call. It sounds like there's just one more person.
Can I just ask a question, Mayor? Katie?
Right. Councilmember Coombs.
Katie, do we know how many people are left to speak in person and on the phone?
So
She has a list that might include more people you don't know about.
So we have 3 people on the call-in line. And then, I'm sorry, was your name Kiawa Lewis?
No, my brother actually took mine. I was a KL and he's.
Okay, y'all got switched? Okay, yes. So we only have one more person signed up in person.
So 4 total. So can we listen to those last 4?
Is this a discussion? So the motion is for the last 4 that have signed up to be able to speak. Discussion.
Mayor?
Councilmember Sundberg.
I'm fine with that.
Further discussion?
Mayor, I'm fine with it as well.
Okay. Call for the question.
Mayor.
Mayor votes yes.
Katie, I'm a yes.
I can't vote for some reason. I'm also a yes.
I'm also a yes as well.
I'm also a yes, it's not showing up on the screen.
Okay. Councilmember Zvonek.
Yes.
Yes.
I voted
Okay,
yes.
the motion passes to extend the 1 hour cap for public invited to be heard. So we have KL.
And then have one of the four.
My name is Kaisha Lewis. I'm Kylan Lewis's sister. And further, I get you, I don't care what goes on with the black community. It's real messed up. But as an armed security guard, I fear for my life every day. I wear this uniform trying to protect other people, and I can't even be protected, let alone my family. My brother got a 3-year-old that don't know, he gone. But y'all don't care about that. Aurora, I pray that y'all sign this petition to help us out, because something need to happen. There's no reason for my brother to be gone due to a person reacting off of his fear. They go to practice and all kind of things to figure out what's going on and to be able to protect themselves, but they don't even have a reason to protect themselves. Nobody was being pressured or guns aimed at them or anything like that for my brother to be gone. What his past has nothing to do with his future, but he ain't here no more. And I get you like do you gavel at black people or whatever? You show your sign right there. It don't matter what we say up here. Y'all can go whatever y'all want to go with. But my brother needs justice, and that cop need to be held accountable for what he did. Y'all fail to realize the police are gang members themselves. But when we start to stand up and do what we need to do, y'all gonna be hard about it, because all y'all gonna feel it, and I guarantee you that. For my brother.
Okay, so we have a few individuals on the public call-in line.
Sabrina, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, I'm Sabrina, and I'm a member of Denver Aurora Community Action Committee. I'm here today to speak to you about Kylan Lewis, who was shot and killed by Aurora SWAT officer Michael Dyack on May 23rd. According to witnesses and recordings, Kylan was unarmed at the time and was no threat to anyone. In addition, Officer Dyack said no command to Kylan, gave no warning or read him his rights before shooting him, acting as judge, jury, and executioner. No medical intervention was given to Kylan as the officers stood over him and watched him die. This is another horrific case of violence and brutality done at the hands of Aurora police. Elijah McLean, Jordell Richardson, and now Kylan Lewis are all just a few examples out of many of Aurora police being a danger to this community. How many others have to die before things change? The family of Kylan Lewis and the rest of the community demand for accountability. We ask the City Council to press charges against Officer Michael Dyack and Aurora Police. We want all footage and information regarding this incident and all records of Officer Dyack be released for free. And lastly, we want a civilian police accountability council that is made up of democratically elected residents of Aurora with no ties to the police. This council will have the power to hire and fire officers, including the police chief, investigate misconduct, indict officers, set budgets and policies, and have subpoena power. This will give the community power over the police instead of the other way around. We urge you to do what's right for the family and the community of Aurora and give justice to Kylan Lewis. Thank you.
Madeline, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Madeline Gregg. I am also here to speak about Kylan Lewis. I am speaking in solidarity with the family and community members that are deeply grieving and deeply treasure the life of Kylan Lewis. And I think that it is hard to believe that yet again I am speaking about another case of racialized police brutality exercised by Aurora Police Department. After the killing of Elijah McClain at the hands of Aurora PD, there were in-depth investigations and trials and decisive empirical evidence gathered by the Attorney General that Aurora PD practices, quote from Colorado Public Radio, racist policing and inappropriate use of force, and that Aurora Police Fire Rescue routinely violate state and federal law. It is baffling that after 3 years after this report was released that we've seen countless Black community members have interactions with the police that are utterly dehumanizing and violate their rights. My question is, how much more time does the city of Aurora need before it decides that Black lives are worth protecting and not policing? When SWAT officers fired on unarmed Kylan Lewis, they declared through their action that there's no version of policing that does not involve the violation and routine killing of Black people, and this must be abolished. To claim that this was an accident or a lapse in judgment is nonsensical. This is repetitive, this is systematic, and it must stop. The council can start with meeting the following demands to meet Kylan Lewis's family in their moment of mourning and grief that is really unimaginable. So we demand that council press charges against Aurora PD and Officer Dake. We demand the release of any and all footage and information related to the incident and transparent records for free, and release all records about Officer Dake free of charge. Also coordinate with the community to implement a policy of community control of the police through Civilian Police Accountability Council. And I think that it's, last thing I want to say is that Aurora PD, or Aurora City Council seems to have a commitment to the optics of protecting Black lives, given the Juneteenth proclamation, but that commitment right now is just surface level because the Black community in Aurora is not seeing any material changes to the conditions that actually lead to freedom and liberation. So right now, it seems that Aurora City Council is just, their allyship is purely optical, but that can change.
Madeline, your time is up.
Are met. Thank you.
Tanya, go ahead. You have 3 minutes. Tanya, go ahead. You have 3 minutes. Tanya, are you there? You have 3 minutes. Go ahead. I guess she must not be on the line.
Okay, that was the last person.
We have a motion in order for the adoption of the agenda.
Mayor, motion to approve the agenda.
Moved by Councilmember Gardner, seconded by?
Zavonic.
Seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Zavonic to adopt the agenda. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the adoption of the agenda.
Mayor Kaufman?
Mayor votes yes.
Maybe
Councilmember Sundberg? Yes. The motion passes to adopt the agenda.
Motion is in order for the adoption of the consent calendar on motions, item number 10C1 to 10C4.
Mayor, motion to approve 10C1 through 10C4.
Moved by Councilmember Gardner, seconded by?
Bergen?
Seconded by Councilmember Bergen to approve the consent calendar for motions, item number 10C1 to 10C4. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on the adoption of the consent calendar for motions, item 10C1 to 10C4.
Mayor Kaufman?
The mayor votes yes.
Councilmember Mario?
Yes.
The motion passes to adopt the consent calendar for motions.
Motion is in order for the adoption of the consent calendar, resolutions, and ordinances, item 11A1 to 11B4.
Mayor, motion to approve 11A1 through 11B4.
Moved by Councilmember Gardner, seconded by?
Bergen.
Seconded by Councilmember Bergen to approve the
the consent calendar for resolutions and ordinances, item 11A1 to 11B4. Discussion?
Mayor, we have a few individuals who would like to speak on some items. So we have item 11A2, Robbie DeYoung. Yep.
I live at 19659 East Dartmouth Place in Aurora, Colorado. For the last year, I have had a fiber optic cable that has run from my neighbor's yard, which when they were installing the fiber optic cable, they put the fiber optic cable in and out and in and out of one of her garden trellises. They didn't dig it in the ground. They left it in the air. On my fence, it's draped over the entire fence going into my neighbor's yard. I have asked and asked and asked to have this problem resolved. I have called CenturyLink. I have called the other place, I think it starts with an O or something like that, I don't remember. Anyway, and I get told by supervisors, oh, we're going to have somebody out next week. We're going to have somebody out next week. And then they send somebody to the door unannounced because we have to move things in our backyard for them to get to the easement. And this is going to really sound bad, and I apologize to everyone, but if you're going to send someone out first, you were supposed to be here last week. I need to know what you're going to do. And all I get is, oh, it's okay, it's okay. What's okay? I have a video of me doing this. And the gentleman's saying, you know, oh, it's okay, it's okay. No, it's not okay. We need to do something about the fiber optic cables, because I can tell you right now, fiber optic cables do not do well in the sun. And when they're left out, that's exactly what we have to look at, is an additional cost to have it done correctly. So if this is about getting this taken care of correctly, I'm all for it.
Aaron Aragon for item 11A6. Okay, Sam Hammer. And Robbie DeYoung for item 11A6.
You gotta be kidding.
This kind of goes along with what was talked about earlier in the canal and making it pretty and adding new concrete and all kinds of good stuff like that. No, we need to take care of our bees and our insects and our pollinators. And when we go to beautify any part of Aurora, we need to keep in mind that we have people that, I don't know what good this is going to do. I really don't know what good this is going to do for me to bring this up. But we need to think about the preservation of our agriculture. We need to do something about making sure that we don't end up with nothing but GMOs and concrete. We tear down a building to put up a parking lot. We tear down forests to put up a parking lot, or a new housing development, or a new subdivision, a new, I don't know if it's going to do any good. Because we're looking at, with the city of Aurora, we're looking at how can we expand Aurora? How can we make it bigger? How can we have more housing for everybody? And we're forgetting about, if we don't take care of Mother Nature, she'll take care of us.
That was the last person. Mayor, that was the last person to speak. So we have a motion.
Question before us is the adoption of the consent calendar for resolutions and ordinances, item number 11A1 to 11B4. Call for the question.
The motion passes to adopt the consent calendar for resolutions and ordinances.
Could staff please respond to item number 12A?
Yeah. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Cheserina DNC, Interim Manager of the Office of Development Assistance. This item will be heard at a public hearing on June 24th, 2024, in order to allow for proper publication of notice.
Thank you. Okay, I need a motion to continue.
Mayor,
Councilmember Coons.
so moved. So continue to the 24th of June?
Moved by Councilmember Coons, seconded by?
Second, Gardner.
Second by Councilmember Gardner. Is there discussion? Call for the question on the motion.
Mayor Kaufman,
Mayor votes yes.
the motion passes to continue item 12A to the next regular council meeting.
Brooke, now please read the title of item number 12B.
Item 12B is a public hearing and consideration of ordinance 2024-27 for a zoning map amendment to rezone approximately 4.8 acres of land to high-density district located approximately 478 feet east of the intersection of East Exposition Avenue and South Ironton Street.
Public hearing is open. Presentation by staff.
Good evening, council members. I'm Liz Fuselier, presenting for staff tonight. For your review is an application for a proposed zoning map amendment. The request is to rezone a property from R1 to R4. The site is located between East Exposition Avenue and South Ironton, adjacent to dense residential development, Expo Park, and a Cherry Creek public school. The subject property is currently zoned as R1. The adjacent zone districts include R3, R4, and Parks, Rec, and Open Space. Here is the proposed zoning map. As mentioned in the prior slide, surrounding properties are currently zoned R3 to the north, MUC, R4, and R1 to the south, R1 and Pros to the east, and R3 and MUC to the west. The subject property falls within the city corridor comprehensive plan place type. Multifamily residential is a primary land use within this place type. This concludes my presentation.
Is there a presentation by the applicant?
No, sir.
Does anybody wish to be heard on this issue?
Yes, we have one person on the call-in line.
Arnie, go ahead. You have 2 minutes.
Mayor Kaufman and City Council members, my name is Arnie Schultz. I reside at 1137 South Oakland Street in Aurora, and I serve as a referral contact for the Village East Neighborhood Association. Our board of directors have reviewed this application and voted unanimously to support it. We realize this is an application for a rezone from R1 to R4, and among the reasons we are supporting it are in their letter of introduction, the applicant stated that they plan to build an intergenerational, affordable workforce housing community serving people who earn 30 to 80% of the AMI with low-income housing credits from the Colorado Housing Finance Authority. Aurora has a huge need for this type of housing. The location is ideal with public transportation at Cherry Creek Elementary School and Expo Park, all within a short walk. King Supers and the Garden Zone of Anna are also within walking distance, and they also are provided with public transportation to both along South Havana Street, available to the residents that will live there. We also like the applicant's concept plan. We ask that you approve this request for a rezone. Thank you.
Does anybody else wish to be heard on this issue?
No.
Are there questions from council to staff? Seeing none, public hearing is closed and a motion is in order.
Mayor, motion to approve 12B.
Moved by Councilmember Gardner, seconded by?
Zavonic.
Seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Zavonic. Discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on the adoption of item number 12B.
The motion passes to adopt ordinance 2024-27.
Clerk, now please read the title to item number 12C.
Item 12C is a public hearing, consideration of ordinance 2024-29, amending Chapter 42 of the Aurora City Code and other related matters.
Mayor Pro Tem Zavonic.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So this ordinance, there's three main things that it seeks to accomplish. One is currently the members of the Aurora Housing Commission Board are appointed at the sole discretion of the mayor, being that we give this board a significant amount of responsibility on an important area, an important issue for our city. This ordinance would change the way that we appoint commissioners by incorporating input from all of council, requiring those who would wish to serve on the board to apply and get support from 6 members of council in order to serve. So that's the first change. The second is currently there are no term limits. People can serve for as long as the mayors continue to appoint them. This creates a term limit of 2 3-year terms where they are eligible to then serve again after taking a term off. And the third change is that it allows the mayor or their designee to be a ex officio member of the board. I want to thank my colleague, Councilmember Coombs. When this issue came up at our study session, there were some concerns about how to implement this in a way that didn't create too much disruption on the board. And so she offered an amendment that would, and it's incorporated into the ordinance as it's written now, that would stagger the times at which the current board members would be up for reappointment under the new system. And that would happen over a 3-year period of time as to not completely transition the board all in 1 year. So I thank you for your collaboration on that. And with that, I'm happy to answer questions or turn it over to staff if there's anything else I missed.
Good.
There's no did I make a motion? Is there a motion? I don't think there's been a motion. Motion is in order.
Mayor.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Motion to approve item 12C.
It's moved by Mayor Pro Tem, seconded by?
Coombs.
Seconded by Councilmember Coombs.
Mayor, you didn't close the public hearing before we vote.
Oh. On item number 12B?
On item 12C.
Oh, this is a public hearing on 12C?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Well, I didn't open it either. Public hearing is open. Are there questions of staff? Seeing none. Does anybody wish to be heard on this issue?
No.
Public hearing is now closed. Questions of staff? Seeing no questions of staff, motion is in order.
Mayor.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, there you go.
Seconded by?
Coombs.
Seconded by Councilmember Coombs to approve item number 12C. Discussion? Seeing no discussion, call for the question on
Mayor.
the adoption of item number 12C.
Sorry, that was very fast. I just have a
Did you
very
have-
brief comment.
Please
I want to
proceed.
thank Mayor Pro Tem Zavonic for being receptive to amendments and discussion on this issue.
Very well. Further discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on the adoption of item number 12C.
The motion passes to adopt ordinance 2024-29.
Clerk, now please read the title to item number 13A.
Item 13A is ordinance 2024-25, amending sections 94-122, 114-107, 114-109, and 114-110 of the City Code, and adding section 114-112 to the City Code pertaining to the abatement of unauthorized camps on public property in an area closed to camping.
Brief presentation by staff.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is really more the police department who has the authority to trespass individuals, but this ordinance complements the HEART program, which was approved earlier in the consent agenda. I'm happy to answer any questions from the perspective of my department if needed.
Questions of staff? Seeing none, Councilmember Sundberg.
Thank you, Mayor. Ultimately, we want people to accept services and help within our city, to become well, to experience healing and recovery, and ultimately get back into society and contribute and be well. With this, there are very defined no trespassing signs that would be placed in sensitive areas, such as fire hazard areas, tall grass, dry spots, the Highline Canal in which people have felt unsafe where there's been camping, or waterways, or where there's been biohazard. There was a woman sitting in our audience just up until 15 minutes ago who was brutally attacked on the Highline Canal with a board and nearly died. So there are safety issues that we hear from our residents, camping within these waterways, chronic trespassing. So we just want to clearly define these areas that there are no camping and then enforce that rapidly if needed.
Thank you. Again, as expressed by Councilmember Sundberg, that it's a companion bill with Councilmember Gardner's proposal that was adopted earlier, whereby we will be much more aggressive on abatements or on trespassing, and it will be along the I-225 corridor. But this is written to be able to expand beyond that as necessary. So it's a tough love approach, so we're going to be much more aggressive in terms of abatements, but we're going to be much more aggressive in terms of providing resources through a specialized problem-solving court that is called the HEART Court. And so really want to thank the two sponsors for this proposal and really redefining how to address homelessness in the city. Further discussion?
Mayor.
Councilmember Crooms.
So I think this is somewhat in the form of questions to staff. The information provided in the fiscal impact talks about the current amount of time being spent on abatements, which is helpful. But do we have any understanding of how reaching out to all of these targeted locations would impact abatements, one, and two, how and what would the cost then be? Like, how many more abatements do we anticipate having? And then the other is looking at ensuring that we're addressing issues across the city. Because I've heard concerns from folks in some areas who have stated that they end up with it going weeks and weeks without issues being addressed in their neighborhoods, fires happening in fields where encampments aren't addressed, and other such issues. And those are primarily in the areas that council has not targeted for as heavy of attention. So again, the questions are, how many more abatements do we expect, and how do we expect this to impact a more citywide kind of equity in addressing abatements?
So Councilmember Coombs, to address the question, the areas that we're targeting with this program are areas that we typically abate on a weekly basis. So They will be addressed. Obviously, the individual is removed from the space through trespassing. Their belongings or trash and debris are not necessarily removed at that time. And so we will work to create some coordination among staff when someone is trespassed from an area and there are items left behind, how we get those on our weekly abatement schedule. And again, I think this is really, the HEART program is a pilot. We'll be learning in the first 6 months or so what this looks like to be able to more accurately understand how quickly we can remove anything left behind when the individual is trespassed, and then what that fiscal impact might be of additional time and hours in stuff that Keeson, our contractor, picks up.
Further
Okay,
discussion?
and then I have an APD-specific question. In the backup, it's noted that APD was not tracking the number of hours, but when I had put in a council request on citywide hours, it looks like for the months of January through April, there were about 80 hours of police time spent. And about 30 arrests. My question is whether or not we know how many of those arrests were individuals who had been arrested more than one time, and how we expect the increased frequency and shortened time frame to impact the arrest numbers that we might see in this instance.
So my name is Heather Morris. I'm the interim chief of police, the Aurora Police Department. And to specifically address your question, I'd have to do more research to see exactly which ones you're talking about and to be able to answer that. So, because I think you were asking about how many of those have been multiple arrests? Yeah, I'd have to look at that specifically and be able to tell you that.
Okay. I'd
Further discussion?
appreciate having that at the next meeting.
I'm sorry. Further discussion? Seeing none,
Mayor,
question?
I'm sorry, we do have one individual on the call-in line who would like to speak.
Okay.
Tanya, go ahead.
Hi, good evening. This is Tanya Tabachek from North Carolina, Mayor and council members. I just wanted to say that I do support this, and also the thing in dealing with abatements and so forth. I do see a lot more that are in front of businesses, and I wish we could get into more of that as well. But I do approve and support this, and thank you for Councilman Zirinsky and Coombs and Morelos to allow me to speak earlier. But I don't know how I messed that, so I apologize. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anybody else wish to speak?
No.
This, all right. Is there further discussion?
Mayor.
Councilmember Coombs.
So I did have, some additional questions, and this may be for the city attorney's office. So the intent behind this is that these folks will be diverted. Is that universally all people who are subject to these abatements, or are there specific people we're going to divert, and how are they going to be informed of that option?
Angela Garcia, City Attorney's Office. Councilmember Coombs, yes, these individuals will be diverted to the HEART program that was passed earlier, the court program. These are individuals who return to an area that has been closed for camping. The signs will be posted. If they are in the area, they will be asked to leave immediately, and they will be offered to go to the HEART program that's in the municipal court.
So they would be informed by the officers at that time on site?
I believe so.
Well, I'm sorry. The HEART program, the court, maybe we need the judge to opine on this, but it's for low-level offenses. So it's for people that are given a ticket for illegal camping in the I-225 corridor starting out, and if failure to appear, but they're given probation, and if they meet the requirements of the probation, which could be addiction recovery, could be mental health, then the charges are dropped. Judge Day.
Yes, thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council. To answer the question, yes. The persons who are in the area where the signs will be posted will be eligible for the program. It's a voluntary program. There won't be any disqualifiers. Clearly, if they have warrants for other cases, those warrants will have to be addressed by the jurisdiction that issued those warrants, but there won't be any other disqualifications for the people that are in the areas for where the signs will be posted.
But Judge, they would have to agree to probation, correct? The terms of the probation.
It's a voluntary program
Right.
where they will be diverted
Right.
from the criminal justice system to where they will be in the program off-site from the courthouse, receiving the services that that individual person needs. It's an individualized system, but there are requirements for the program. It'll be a 4-step program that will last 12 months.
There you go. Okay. Further discussion? Seeing none, I'm sorry. Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of item number 13A. Call for the question.
Mayor, I move to approve 13A.
It's been moved by Councilmember Sundberg.
Second, Gardner.
Second by Councilmember Gardner to approve item number 13A. Call for the question.
Councilmember Zavonic?
Yes.
Councilmember Hancock?
Yes.
The motion passes with 7 yes votes and 3 no votes from Councilmember Coombs, Councilmember Murillo, and Councilmember Medina.
Will clerk now please read the title to item number 13B?
Item 13B is ordinance 2024-28, authorizing the use of lease-purchase financing to acquire certain equipment during the 2024 fiscal year pursuant to the terms of an equipment lease purchase agreement by and between the Aurora Capital Leasing Corporation as lessor and the City of Aurora, Colorado as lessee, authorizing officials of the city to take all action necessary to carry out the transactions contemplated hereby and other related matters.
Brief presentation by staff.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I am Andrew Jameson, Treasury Supervisor with the city. The ordinance before you is the 2024 lease purchase financing for the heavy fleet equipment. The parameters of the resolution are a maturity of up to 11 years, a principal amount of up to $9 million, and an interest rate not to exceed 5.75%. And I'm available for any questions that you may have.
Questions of staff? Seeing none, thank you very much. Motion is in order.
Mayor, motion to approve 13B.
Moved by Councilmember Gardner, second by?
Mayor, second.
Second by Councilmember Bergen to approve item number 13B. Discussion? Seeing none, call for the question on the adoption of item number 13B.
Councilmember Hancock?
Yes.
The motion passes to adopt ordinance 2024-28.
Clerk, now please read the title to item number 13C.
Item 13C is ordinance 2024-30, amending section 1471 of the city code pertaining to excessive number of dogs prohibited.
Brief presentation by staff. And
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Anthony Youngblood for Animal Services. As much as I'd like to talk to you guys, I'm going to defer my time to Councilmember Bergen so she can share with you guys.
Councilmember Bergen.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, so this ordinance is just to change our current limit of dogs from 3 to 4, and it came about because I have a constituent who lives in the Douglas County part of our city, and in Douglas County, they allow 4 dogs. So she has rescued 4 beautiful St. Bernard dogs and wanted to make sure that she was in compliance with the city, so that's why I have come forth with this. Originally, we tried to do it by county, but it was going to be a little bit too confusing because Adams County is 2, Arapahoe County is 3, and then Douglas County is 4. So this just allows us to have consistency in the city to allow 4. And did you know we allow 5 cats?
Discriminatory. Okay. So motion is in order.
Mayor.
Councilmember Bergen.
Motion to approve 13C.
Moved by Councilmember Bergen, second by Councilmember Gardner to approve item number 13C. Discussion? Seeing no further discussion, call for the question on the adoption of item number 13C.
The motion passes to adopt ordinance 2024-30.
Clerk, now please read the title to item number 14A.
Item 14A is finalizing an ordinance 2024-26, removing the sunset provision in ordinance number 2022-37 related to mandatory penalties for the offenses of motor vehicle theft and failure to appear under the city code. And Mayor, we have one individual who would like to speak.
Oh, very well.
Robbie DeYoung.
I have 2 dogs and 2 cats. That's plenty. When our Mayor Pro Tem first spoke with me years ago regarding auto theft, I could see his passion. I could hear it, I could see it, I could feel it. His whole goal was to protect the victim. And if that meant incarcerating the person that stole from the victim, then so be it. The crime for auto theft has gone down. It hasn't gone down nearly as much as I would like it to go down, but it has gone down. There is a stigma of robbing people here in Aurora when it comes to auto theft. It's not strong enough. I wish it was a lot stronger, but every little bit counts. And I am definitely for removing this. You know, we're going to do it. Let's do it. Let's do it right. Let's do it all the way, not just part of the way. And I applaud Dustin. Good job.
Brief presentation by, is there anybody else who wishes to speak on this?
No.
Brief presentation by staff.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, City Council, Pete Schulte, Public Safety Client Manager, City Attorney's Office. This is a second reading of an ordinance that's going to repeal a section of the ordinance passed in 2022-37, which will remove the sunset provision. That would have expired no earlier than August 10th, 2024 of this year. And that is what this does. It will allow the mandatory minimums that are in the city code to continue if this passes a second reading.
Questions of staff? Seeing none, I'm sorry, please, Councilmember Coombs.
So I did note that it says there's no fiscal impact to removing the sunset, but that seems like it doesn't acknowledge the fiscal impact of implementing the law in the first place. Our number of jury trials in 2023 was 126 compared to 48 in 2022. And so that's a tripling of jury trials. And I'm having trouble understanding how tripling the number of jury trials that we have in our courts doesn't carry any fiscal impact whatsoever. And so I wonder, do we know how many of those jury trials were associated with motor vehicle theft cases?
So that information, of course, I don't have with me today, Councilmember Coombs. I think that would come from court administration. But I will tell you that because of the mandatory minimums, there were an increase in cases set for trial because there were individuals who, my understanding from talking to the criminal division of our office, they did not want to plead guilty and accept the mandatory minimum jail time. And there was a little bit of a change in how our office handled the prosecutions. And so at some point, when they showed up to go to trial on the Tuesday or Thursday that they were set for trial, everybody was ready. There was no last-minute plea bargains. And so The result was having all of our witnesses available, having all of the parties that are needed to have a trial were in place on the people's side, and so we were able to move forward on more trials. And again, there's a lot of variables there. I wish I could break them down for you for the cost, but there was a lot of variables that changed over the last 2 years.
Mayor Pro Tem Sylvanek.
Yeah, I would, just to that point, to your question, Councilmember Coombs, when the mayor brought forward the requirement for the fiscal note, part of the thinking was if there was new additional costs in the middle of, after we had set the budget for that previous year. And obviously this past 2 years ago, we had seen the increase in jury trials related to this, and I've heard the number. I don't want to misstate it because it was, I think, over a multi-year period of time. But that was now baked into the costs of our current budget. So there shouldn't be additional costs for this fiscal year. That it's very true that when it passed, it likely increased costs from where we were 2 years ago. But my hope is at this point that having the law on the books is going to lead to actually less jury trials and more of just a deterrence. And I think that at a time when, and you hear this from Robbie all the time, right, there's still, while our numbers that we hear in public safety each month are showing that the number of motor vehicle theft is going down across the city and across state, that's great. There's still a lot of work to be done, and my hope is we wouldn't take away this hopefully deterrent in some ways and another tool for law enforcement in trying to combat motor vehicle theft, and that's what this repeal or the repeal of the sunset provision would allow us to keep using that tool.
Yeah.
Mayor.
Councilmember Coombs.
And I understand that. I just think that at no point have we actually had a thorough conversation about either the costs or the data. And when we look at just the numbers presented in the resolution, our trends are just a tiny bit higher than the rest of the state. And so for me, it really brings a question of the actual efficacy or whether or not it's the overall trends that we're operating with. And so for me, I don't think we should be making policy without actually digging into those numbers, having real conversations about the effectiveness. I think it feels very good to say, oh yeah, we did something, but when we look at the numbers, it is not clear that it's what we did that made the difference. And so for me, I just am not interested in making policy that leads to increased incarceration, that we also are not clear what the real impacts are. So I will not be supporting this.
Well, motion is in order, and then I'll go back to discussion.
Motion, Mayor. Motion to approve item, is this 14A?
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem Sylvanek, seconded by
Jurenski.
seconded by Councilmember Sundberg.
What? I hate you, Sundberg, I hate you.
Okay, discussion? Seeing no further discussion, call for the question on the adoption of item number 14A.
The motion passes with 7 yes votes, 3 no votes from Councilmember Coombs, Murillo, and Medina.
Reports. I'm honored to appoint Garrett Walsh back for another term on the Business Advisory Board. He's been a great chair for the board and has made an extraordinary difference for our city when it comes to particularly small business issues. Councilmember Coombs.
Mayor, thank you. I am reappointing Michelle Redding from Dry Dock Brewing to the Business Advisory Board. I also was really happy to be able to attend the Aurora History Museum Mosaic of Cultures Nepali Community Exhibit reception on Saturday, along with the mayor, as well as many members of our community. And that exhibit, it continues to be open and is incredibly interesting and highlights those members of our community, as well as information about Nepal, which is one of the communities from which we have many immigrants in the city of Aurora. So I encourage folks to go to the History Museum and check that out. And in addition, wanted to remind folks that we will have Aurora Pride August 3rd at the Aurora Reservoir, and I'll be bringing forward a resolution on that. Thank you.
Councilmember Gardner? No report. Councilmember Jurenski?
Yes, thank you. We are hosting an at-large town hall on Thursday, June 20th at 6 o'clock at the Central Rec Center. And then I also, we started the meeting out tonight talking about the Wine and Wags event coming up, but I just want to reiterate, this is Tuesday, August 27th. We have a fundraising goal of $50,000 towards building a new animal shelter that is desperately needed in Aurora. There's going to be wine tasting, appetizers, live entertainment, a silent auction, and a lot of pet supply vendors from Aurora. This is at the Lake House at the Cherry Creek State Park, and it's not just monetary donations we're looking for. We are looking for different items as well, such as food, treats, and toys for the animals.
Mayor Pro Tem Savanik?
No report.
Councilmember Murillo?
No report.
Councilmember Sundberg?
Thank you, Mayor. I've visited a couple of grocery stores recently and talked to management and employees about theft. And it is a sad situation in some of our grocery stores. The brazenness. Watched a special out in California, in Los Angeles, an 81% increase in retail theft in just 1 year. One store is doing an interesting thing where they have drastically reduced theft by creating an Instagram account with great pictures of the thief and posting their picture and saying, "Do you know this person?" And even putting posters on the store glass. And that's drastically reduced, and I thought that was interesting. Public Works and Councilwoman Stephanie Hancock, myself, we visited a fiber installation by Google Fiber in which they make a really clean cut along the edge of the street adjacent to the concrete and fill it. It's about a 2.5-inch wide gap. Very clean, very customer service oriented. Even more so than Amazon, it seemed like, council member, if that's possible. I visited station number 9 recently. It's not just getting an overhaul, it's going to get scraped and rebuilt 2-story with 2 companies. And Mayor, I saw you on Saturday at the Kierkegaard Acres picnic. If anybody wants to invite me to their picnic, I'm willing to go, especially if there's good food.
Councilmember Medina?
Thank you, Mayor. I have my town hall tomorrow here at the Central Library, which will have the Veterans Affairs Commission come out and talk, and that is all my report.
Councilmember Hancock?
No report.
Councilmember Lawson?
Thank you, Mayor. For the legislative update, as the state legislative session has come to an end, the city will continue focusing on federal advocacy efforts and planning for the 2025 Colorado legislative session. 4 of the city's congressionally directed spending requests will be put before congressional appropriation committees for the final approval in FY25 budget. These projects include the mobile command vehicle for increased community safety, Havana Street Corridor multimodal improvements, Box Elder Creek roadway improvement, and Montview Boulevard complete streets. The Department of Justice has released a notice of proposed rulemaking which will propose rescheduling marijuana from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, which could reduce the tax burden on businesses and potentially increasing banking opportunities. Our next Pfizer meeting will be Friday, June 21st at 1 p.m. and will be virtual. I will have 2 town hall meetings as I do on a monthly basis. The first one will be June 15th at Heather Gardens from 10 to 11:30. The second one will be June 25th at Central Rec Center, 6:30 to 8 p.m. The topics will be retail strategy and the fireworks presentation by AFR. And then I'll give my general updates and have Q&A as well. I just want to thank my colleagues for approving the citywide beautification operational enhancements. That is working with Ready to Work. We'll be able to work along with them, and it's more internal to clean up our medians, clean up along our trails, pick up trash, deal with graffiti, deal with dead trees. So this is going to be something that we all hear from our constituents about making our city cleaner. So I really appreciate the support on that. Thank you, Mayor.
Seeing no further business before the, oh, no.
Seriously?
It's time to resign. Councilmember Bergen?
Thank you, Mayor, for remembering me.
I'm in trouble.
I just want to say I missed the last meeting because I was at the ICSC conference in Las Vegas, and that's where we go as staff and meet with brokers and developers, and we have meetings pretty much every half hour for 2 days straight, so it's just a lot of work, but trying to bring business to Aurora, just showcasing our great city. So that was why I missed that meeting. And then just quick update on the reservoir, because I have a lot of constituents that live by the Aurora Reservoir, especially those Beacon Point and South Shore residents. And we had to close our reservoir at 6 p.m. this last weekend, as well as ban alcohol. We had unfortunately some very serious disturbances over the last few weekends, and so in conjunction with the pro staff and our police, a plan was put together to try to mitigate this. So just want to let everyone know that we are going to have an after-action report and just kind of assess how the weekend went, and moving forward, if we're going to lift those restrictions or keep them for a little bit longer.